What is going on, YouTube and Spotify? This is the Just BSN podcast, and I'm with my boy Andrew this week. I told you it wasn't going to last long. It wasn't going to be anything crazy. He was just on a little trip, enjoying a birthday, enjoying some good old events. You went to a couple of sporting events.
I did.
You definitely had some fun. I saw, I saw the Snapchat. So we are back. We are normal. We are live. I know last week's was a little bit weird. I didn't even get to talk about the Ohio State game at all, and that was my bad. But I also just wanted to get everything recorded because I also had a busy week. So I was like, I might as well just do what I can do, and it ended up doing pretty well. So thanks for all of the love and all of the support on that. And yeah, we're back to normal. So Andrew, how are we feeling after your nice little time off, your nice little trip? Now we're back to week 1 of the NFL is here.
Yeah, dude, it felt great. It just felt good just to get away for a few days and just relax and be able to enjoy a place I've never been to before. For those who don't know, I went to New Jersey for the Columbus Crew New York Red Bulls game. But where we stayed at in New Jersey, it was basically right next to the soccer stadium too, in Harrison, New Jersey. So we were like, I think it was like 2 blocks away from the stadium. It was like a 5-minute walk. So we were right there next to the stadium. It was so nice. But also next to us was the New Jersey Transit, which is a train system. And it runs from Newark, New Jersey through Harrison all the way to the World Trade Center in New York City. So I thought it would be fun to take a little trip. We drove into, or not drove in, but took the train to New York City, explored New York City a little bit. And then me, my dad, and my brother had the grand idea, since if you see those baseballs behind me right here, I like to do a little going to different stadiums and watching baseball games, and obviously, like I said, soccer games. Mostly it's for soccer, but if we run into a city with a baseball team, we'll try and catch a baseball game there as well. So the only team playing in that time was the New York Mets, because the Yankees were in Chicago. So we're like, hey, let's go see our good old friend Francisco Lindor, because I miss him, and I know he misses us. So let me go check on him and see how he's doing. And obviously, our third base coach Mike Saraball too is down there as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
shout out to Mike Saraball as well. Saw him; he was doing really well, and saw probably one of the most craziest games I've ever seen. First of all, the game ended like 19-9.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
it was ridiculous. It was against the Miami Marlins too, of all teams. So it was a freak show of a game. But I think the Mets scored like 13 runs in the first 2 innings alone.
God.
It was. I thought it was gonna be a massive blow. I thought we were gonna see like 20 runs from the Mets, which we pretty much did. It was 19, and then I thought the Marlins were going to come back because both teams just threw out positional players just to lob the balls in towards the end of the game. And I was like, okay, Miami obviously doing it because they're getting smoked by like 19-3 at this point. And then what's even funnier is that the Mets started to do it because they had a closer ready, but they told him to just go sit back down because it's 19-3. What's going to happen? So they just threw out a positional player, just started lobbing balls in. Well, the Marlins had like a 6-run inning in like the 8th, and they're like, all right, we got to stop this. We got to throw in the closer. we can't be having this guy giving up the 9 or giving up like a 10-run lead.
Jeez.
So it was crazy. I got my baseball, so it's up there in the little case. Got me a couple of souvenirs from the soccer game too. Got me my scarves, because I collect scarves, which soon enough you'll see them hanging around the walls here. I need to start putting them up. I need some thumbtacks to get them going.
Right.
But yeah, it was a fun trip. Got to go see some good old fashioned soccer. Got to go see at least one of the New York baseball teams. So now I need to go back to go catch a Yankees game to complete New York, and then fill up that case a little bit more.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, man. That sounds like so much fun. You guys were able to just kind of do a whole lot of exploring and a whole lot of just good old fashioned fun. I mean, that's the way you make a trip, like especially a sort of weekend ish trip.
Yeah.
you just kind of just make do with
And,
what you got. I mean, I've been to New York, so I know what it's like. I went around like the week before Christmas, which was a nightmare. So
oh yeah,
it was probably a little bit better for you guys. Probably wasn't
yeah.
as insane. It's still New York, don't get me wrong.
Oh no, it was
Um,
crazy, but not like, oh my god, this is like New Year's Eve crazy or something. New York.
right. Did you guys have any weird like train people at all? Like, did
Oh,
you have anybody?
we we had this. I think this kid was like probably just freshly turned 21, just on the train, just slumped, just like trying so hard not to throw up all over the floor. He actually, in the middle of the train ride, opened the door where like you switch cars or whatever.
Yeah,
I just opened the door and just hung over the ledge in between the cars and just started throwing up as the train was moving. I'm like, oh my god, this kid's bizarre. First of all, bizarre for doing this because I thought he was gonna fly off the train
yeah,
or smack his head on something because obviously those tunnels are kind of narrow for a train. And I thought that kid was gonna die or something. And then, I mean, he was fine and he was just completely blacked out drunk.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Just drunk.
on the opposite side, it's just a homeless guy yelling at another person for not giving him money. So your typical New York kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I saw one of the most New York things ever. It was a giant rat, and this is the first time it was like, for the most part, all the subways were like they look clean, they look nice. Like I was like, okay, everyone makes fun of New York for having dirty subways and whatnot. This one, the subways were actually not that terrible, and these were just probably like once in a life, like once in, like every so often experience, obviously. But this big old rat comes out onto the tracks, grabs half a Newport cigarette laying on the tracks, puts it in his mouth, and runs away. I was like, did that rat just take a Newport cigarette and just run
Hell
away?
yeah, it did.
that
And he's had a long day. He probably kept it there from earlier.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, did he just like have that stash somewhere or hid it from his like mouse wife or rat wife or something? And just went to go take a smoke. I was like, what is going on in this city?
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's great.
but it was funny. It was a good time.
Yeah.
And then we have one more trip planned. We're going to Orlando for Columbus Crew versus Orlando, early October. So that's coming up in about actually a month time, exactly in a month. So October 2nd, I will be gone again for Crew versus New York or Crew versus Orlando City
Heck yeah. Heck
down
yeah,
in
that'll be
Orlando.
sick.
So
That will be sick. I love Orlando. I
yeah, it'd be my
love it.
second time there.
Heck yeah. But yeah, man, it's great to have you back. And
Yeah,
hey, man, there's been a lot that went on. I know you got to see a little bit of the Ohio State game.
yeah,
So I know you don't have the full scope, but your boy does. And listen, man, it wasn't necessarily a high point scoring game, and I didn't think it really was going to. Week one is always weird for
yeah,
teams like this, and when two top teams like this play each other, and they both have outstanding defenses, it's going to come down to just a couple of scores, and that's basically exactly what it went. It was basically 7-0, I think, at halftime. Um, the Ohio State defense just they honestly made Arch Manning um, look uncomfortable, like
yeah,
completely uncomfortable. He didn't really look like he was uh, worried about his good footwork. His throwing motions looked a little off, like his timing was off. They did a really good job of just continuing to get to him and making him not get in a groove at all. And he really couldn't. I mean, even the touchdown drive, like he had to absolutely work for it, and that was a good throw. But when you compare how Arch looked compared to how Sand looked, I'm sorry, man. I think Sand looked 10 times better than Arch did. Sand missed a couple throws, but there was also, a few drops, especially at the beginning of the game. There was quite a few drops. So for him going, I think it was like 13 to 20. He probably could have had 16 to 20. And, that could have propelled him a little bit more. He had a lovely throw to Tate over the middle that ended up being a huge bomb. And he honestly could have had Jeremiah Smith earlier on in the game on that fourth down that we didn't convert. Because he was running just absolutely free and clear of nobody. It was the weirdest thing ever, and we didn't even pass it to him. But that was also another topic of this game. Texas went for it on 4th down, I think, on 4 or 5 different occasions, and we stopped them 4 times, including 2 in the red zone, 1 on the goal line. That made the biggest difference, dude. Our defense last season was pretty good, but it got better over the season. And then it got to the point where it was in the playoffs, where I mean, they already look like they're in that top form. They are really, really solid up front. And I'll tell you what, the safeties and the corners look even better than they did last year. And I don't know what else to say, but this defense is going to really, really, really help propel this Ohio State team to win a lot more close games like this. And let me tell you something, the offense is only going to get better because it is stacked. It's loaded. I know we don't have as many great running backs, but we still have some solid runners. Donaldson did a really good job, took a majority of the reps. Man, oh man, this defense it could be something really special.
Yeah, no, I tried to catch some of the game obviously on my phone. Saturday was kind of a chill day for us. So I had the game on my phone, trying to watch as much as possible. And like you said, dude, it was what everyone expected, to be honest. It was a defensive matchup. You had, what was it, the number 1 defense versus probably it was basically the rankings when they played each other, number 1 versus number 3. It was also basically the number 1 defense versus the number 3 defense in the
Yeah.
country. So
Yeah.
and it definitely showed because sure, you had 2 sophomore QBs in Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin, and they showed why that they were young quarterbacks. They made some mistakes for sure, but I mean those defenses were just wrecking havoc on both sides on both teams,
Right.
and especially Ohio State. Like Ohio's defense just looks insane. They just got to Arch constantly, forcing him to make bad throws, forcing him to throw behind receivers and throwing short. And they really made Arch Manning look really, really bad, like a high school quarterback almost. Like they're like, dude, you're not good enough for this. And it was bad. And I know a lot of Texas fans said if that was Quinn Ewers, then they probably would have had a chance. And honestly, I would probably agree. Like if they had Quinn Ewers, that they probably win that ball game.
Yeah.
But it just looked like Arch Manning wasn't ready for the moment. And I know he drove down late and got a late touchdown. It's obviously controversial for a lot of people whether or not it was actually a full-blown catch or if it was a drop. I
Right.
mean, I'm not going to complain about it, to be honest with you. Like, it's the SEC refs. Texas is now in the SEC, so they're probably going to give them a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
So I knew that was going to be called a touchdown because it's just the SEC bias there. But all in all, I thought Ohio State played really, really well for, having Julian Sayin as the starting quarterback, for, not having guys like Trevion Henderson and Quishon Judkins being your 2 running backs. Donaldson, I thought he had a good game. I think he had like 13 carries for like 70 yards. So he had a pretty
Yeah.
good game. Carnell Tate, just, when Jeremiah Smith doesn't get the attention, Carnell Tate's so good. And that touchdown was, I thought he dropped it and then he hauled it in. I was like, oh my God, dude, this kid's going to be a stud. And like, we still have the receiving core. It's still there. And I tell you what, Grambling State better be ready because I know Saints going to be launching that ball all game long. And I'm ready for it. I'm sure Saints ready for it. But you know what, though? This was a good test for Julian Sayin. I think there was another stat of this was the first time a kind of like a young starting or a quarterback beat in his first career
Yeah.
college star beat a number one team
team. Yep.
and like since like was it like 1980s or something,
Yeah.
which is like an insane stat that Julian Sayin just came out and beat the number 1 team in college football and looked really comfortable doing it. Like he did not look panicked at all throwing the football. He looked pretty good. I mean, obviously a couple of those were drops by the receivers that should have been caught, especially like the first couple plays, what we had. I think it was the 4th down. That was a wide open tight end, and the tight end just dropped it right in his hands, dropped it.
Right.
Even the play before, right in the wide receiver's hands. I think it was Jeremiah Smith, actually. It was in Smith's hands, and he just dropped it. And it's like,
Yeah, he
that's
did have a drop.
That's very unlike Jeremiah Smith in that moment.
Yeah.
And so that again, you can't put that on Julian Sane because he put the ball where he had to. It was just a couple drops, and
Mhm.
there's a couple, there's some plays where he did throw the ball kind of weird, and it's like, okay, but you expect that from a young starting QB who's getting his first career start, especially against the number one defense in the country.
Yeah.
But I thought he handled himself well. I thought the defense was astounding. I thought like you said, the front four were outstanding. So all in all, I think this was a very, very good game for Ohio State, and just shows why we won the national championship and why we deserve to be number one in the country.
Absolutely. And, you heard from Ryan Day after the game where he basically said, I didn't want to put a lot on Julian. Like I did
Mm-hmm.
not want to have to give him so much at his first start in a big game like this. And you could tell like the play calling was pretty conservative. They really wanted to just establish the run and sort of keep it pretty basic. And it did enough because I'm telling you again, the D defense was incredible. And I think I have to give a shout out to Matt Patricia. The players are raving about him. They are saying that he is an actual teacher, like he is an actual coach, where, Jim Knowles was, great, but Matt Patricia seems to really have a good grasp with this team. And I think he's helping these guys really unlock some more things. And, they're a lot younger on this D line, but they are just as athletic, if not more, than they were last year. So it's gonna be fun, man. And as I said, this offense is only going to get better. And now that you got a few easy games like Grambling, it's gonna be like that for the next, I think, 2 or 3 weeks before we get into some more Big Ten play. So they're gonna have a few weeks to get out some kinks. And Ryan Day even said we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot to work on. So it's okay. But Julian Sane definitely proved that he is the guy. And I always thought that he would be. His arm is really, really, really impressive. Like he was really doing some really good things back there, and the sort of limited throws that he got. Dude, it's only going to get better. I promise you, by the time that we get into Big Ten play, it's going to be a lot of fun. The fireworks are going to really start to play out, and guys like Jeremiah Smith, trust me, they're gonna finally connect, and it'd be kind of a mistake not to. But let's also not forget, uh, Carnell Tate was basically the Jeremiah Smith before Jeremiah Smith. Like when he was underneath Marvin Harrison, everybody said, "Boy, you better watch out for this Tate kid. He is impressive. Like he is something." And they kept raving about him, and he just never got a chance because he was behind, Harrison and Abuka, and just a few of these guys that were going to get more reps at that time. I mean, I even think we had Julian Fleming at that time as well.
We did.
So he just had limited reps at that time, and last year you saw it. This year, I think you might be able to see him and Jeremiah Smith both have 1,000-yard seasons. Like it can happen, and the tight end that we have that came from Purdue as well. You got to see him a little bit. I'm telling you what, he's going to be something fun as well. So, give this offense a little bit of time. They always start pretty slow, but by week 3 or 4, I think we're going to see a much more polished Ohio State team. And by midway through the season, this Ohio State team could be really starting to get into their flow state. And as long as they can keep doing that, you should be able to pretty convincingly beat a team like that team up north and really come back from that after the last 4 years. So that's the big goal. But for now, just keep getting better and keep playing hard. And I think everything will sort of fall through. And now Ohio State is at the 1 spot in the AP polls. So they skipped over Texas and Penn State, who Penn State played. I mean, who was it? Nevada or
They played
something?
Nevada,
and they won like 43-14. But like again, I mean, when you go up against the top, team in the nation, and you win, you're gonna you're gonna take their place.
yeah. And I know I know a lot of LSU fans are a little upset that they didn't take the number 1 spot after beating Clemson. And like, don't get me wrong, they went to Clemson and beat the brakes off of Clemson. But you know what, though? I think Clemson was very overrated to start
I
the
was
AP
just gonna
poll
say
and
that.
start the
Yeah.
year. Like, they were very overrated. But like, they had no business being in that
You
high
could,
in the
I
first
mean, you
place.
could probably argue that Texas is a little overrated, and really Arch. I mean, Arch
Yeah,
has to prove it, man. He can't just use the last name to his advantage. It's
yeah,
not like he's the heir to Peyton Manning,
no,
or even Eli. Like he's neither of those guys' kid. So he needs to prove it. He needs to really
yeah,
prove that he can actually play quarterback.
yeah.
Like
And he's got a lot to live up to because his uncles were Super Bowl champions.
yeah, I mean, multiple Super Bowl champions
Yeah. I
and
mean,
very,
Eli's
very
got 2.
successful.
Eli got 2, and Peyton got 1. Or no, Peyton got 2
Two.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he
you
had
get
one with the
two.
Colts and the Broncos. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. Because
Yep, he beat the Bears back in like I think it was like 2008.
yeah, I was like remembering that. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Because I was like, was that the year of the Saints or was that the year of the
Yeah.
um? Yeah. So, but I mean, he's got a lot to live up to. I know his
A
dad
lot.
played, and I know his dad played, but I know
Yeah.
his dad didn't do much of anything. But obviously, we all know that the uncles and the grandfather, whatever, they were studs. Like those guys were studs.
Right. So yeah, I mean,
A lot to live
it's
up
a
to.
it's a lot to live up for. Um, but you know, I know he's gonna get better. It's just him getting thrown to the wolves, like this, I think is a good wake up call for him personally,
Yeah,
and we very well may see them again in the playoff, like that. That can easily happen. So
yeah, and
it's not like this might not be the last time that we see Arch.
no, and he could be a lot better by then too.
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah, but so will
I'm
Julian.
Oh yeah, and I mean he's got a couple easy games coming up against San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston before. I mean, he plays some pretty tough opponents. He's got Florida, Oklahoma, then he's got number 4 Georgia and A&M at the end of the year. So
Yeah,
a little bit of a difficult schedule there, but they dropped to 7. Ohio State moves up to number 1. We get Grambling State and I think Ohio, and then it's Big Ten from right then on. Because then we
yeah,
play Washington, Minnesota, number 11, Illinois,
that's right.
Wisconsin, number 2, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and then obviously the team up north at number 15. So we get 2 pretty easy opponents. Like Julian's saying, kind of get some confidence. And then we head to Washington to start some Big Ten play.
Hell yeah, yeah, that's gonna be really, really good. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, man, it was good that they got the week 1 win and
For sure.
really to just start out good. Because if you would have came off that game and gotten blown out by them, that's a different story. But neither
Yeah.
team got blown out. Like Texas is still ranked 7th right now. It's not like we really threw them back. They're going to compete within the top 5, but you also saw a team like Alabama lose to Florida State, who was unranked, who was a 2-10 win team last season. So the SEC doesn't look as good as they have been in previous years, and that's the thing that I'm most happy about is seeing the
Yeah.
SEC slowly fall, and now the Big Ten is starting to reign supreme because we have so many top teams in the Big Ten right now. So yeah, man, it's going to be a fun season. I'm really excited. I know the next few weeks are not going to be that crazy. So I'm not going to make a big deal about getting ready for week 2 in there. I want to shift the focus now to week 1. Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals. I love playing these guys in week 1 because we always seem to have pretty good luck against Burrow early on in the season, but also the Bengals always start finicky. Like they
Yeah.
always come into the season and it's almost like they don't know their identity. Like they haven't been the same team for years now under Zach Taylor and with Joe Burrow leading the helm. Like you should know what your team looks like. But yet the offense will struggle at times, and their defense. I mean, they did nothing. The only thing they did was re-sign Trey Hendrickson to a 1-year deal, which
Yeah,
was
a fully
the
guaranteed deal. Yeah.
goofiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just trade him. Just trade him if you're not going to have him be there for more than 2 seasons, even. I mean, to me that was weird. But they added some guys in the rookie class, but they're nothing crazy. Like there's nothing astounding about it. And the team's backups were destroying the Bengals starting defense in
Yeah.
preseason. So the Browns have an opportunity now that we've been able to get back to our roots on offense, run the ball, play action with Joe Flacco. This is an opportunity for them to start the season on the right note, and this game could kind of dictate what the rest of the season is going to sort of look like, or at least under Flacco for the next few weeks. Because as we know, the beginning of the season is going to theoretically be sort of a gauntlet for the Browns. So you might as well get a win in week 1 while you can, because it may be the last win you get for a few weeks if everybody's predictions are correct. So yeah, man, what's your early thoughts and early excitement, I guess, around the game, if any?
Well, I have a good feeling that it could be what we started out in 2023. We had Deshaun Watson as the starter, and it was for some reason, it was a very cold, rainy day in
Oh yeah, that was a rough game.
Second week of September. But you know what? The defense looks exactly like it did back in 2023. It looks astounding. And I mean, it looks like it could be a top defense in the league again. And if that's the case, that defense smothered Joe Burrow like it was nothing. I think we had like 5 or some sacks that game, like 5 or 6 sacks against Joe Burrow. And again, like we said, they haven't really done much to the offensive line, if anything at all. So the offensive line is somehow still really bad.
Yeah.
And then you thought they would do something about that, which they haven't, because Paul Brown's an idiot. And then they got rid of like 90% of their defense. It's like the only defensive player they've retained was Trey Hendrickson, and they almost lost that one kid they drafted back to college because they couldn't even agree to anything. Yeah. Because again, the front office was being stupid as hell and like trying to cheap out on the kid. And it's like, you drafted me in the first round. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you want me to, I'll go back to college and play back. I'll go back to A&M and play for another year.
Yeah.
Like, I will do it. And like that defense is so dead. Like you said, the second and third strings of the Bengals offense decimated the starting defense during practice and preseason and training.
Yeah,
it's not looking good. And like you said, the Browns went back to their identity and back to a Stefanski style that works so well and that he knows so well is the play action and run game. And it was announced earlier that Jerome Ford will be the number 1 back, which I think is very reasonable because he's the one who's used to this style of offense after the last couple of years. And I mean, will I think he'd be effective? Yeah, he'll be good enough until we figure out the running back room. He'll be serviceable.
Yeah.
But this is like you brought Joe Flacco back for a reason, and it's just to run the simplified play action and run offense. Throwing the ball up the middle, take maybe so like Joel Padano said in the interview with our boy Nick Padone, they're getting back to we're just going to play simple football, just hit the open guys, maybe take an occasional shot deep every so often if we have it. But we're just going to play simple football. The defense only came out in the field like, was it like 54 times all season long? He said in 2023. Like,
yeah,
it was something insane because the offense just kept the possession, and that's how they won games. Is they just kept all the possession, and that's the game plan this year. Is just the offense stay on the field for as long as you can, and just eat as much of that clock as you can and keep the defense nice and rested. So that
Yeah.
way Myles Garrett can just tear things up. Mason Graham can go out there and tear things up. Shoinka can go in there and tear things up. Obviously, Schlesinger can go in there and tear things up.
Yeah.
It allows the defense to move a lot faster and a lot easier and be well rested. So I think they're going back to that. It's nice that they're going back to that offense, especially too for the offensive line, because that was when the offensive line was at their best too. Was that because they didn't have to block as hard. They
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about all these RPOs with Deshaun Watson and all these things that make him decide, and he can't decide. So the offensive line gets their asses kicked, and Watson gets sacked 17 times a game because he can't make a decision for no more than 2 seconds because
Yeah.
there's nothing in that brain of his up there.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get a guy back like Joe Flacco to come in and run the style offense that we need him to. And I think he could torch the Bengals offense. I really do. Or the Bengals defense. Like we said, that defense is non-existent for Cincinnati right now. And for some reason, everyone has them as like a 10, 12, 13 win team. It's like with that defense, they're going to be lucky to win like 8 games if they get that far. Like Joe Burrow, and some guy said Joe Burrow is going to have to throw 500 yards a game.
Yeah. 500 yards a game and at least 3 touchdowns minimum.
Yeah, just to even have a chance.
And Chase Brown just has to also do very, very well throughout the season without getting absolutely murked. And that's the other the other thing, you got to keep Burrow upright. There's a lot of variables, and I think people hone way too much on the fact that they have such a high profile offense that they forget the holes in that offense and also the defense. That was the reason why they were an 8-9 team. Burrow does a lot, and I'm just wondering how long it's going to take for him to get to the point where he's like, dude, you either got to get me some help on this line or I will leave. I will ask for a trade because I cannot keep doing this.
Surprised he hasn't.
I mean, the only reason why he's not is because of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I mean, he has guys to throw to. He just has no time to do it. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm pretty sure the weather is supposed to be pretty clear, so it'll be nice. So this will be a pretty even game. I will say, and I forget who it was on I believe it was 92 through the fan that talked about the difference between what we saw out of Flacco in the 5 games that he was here in 2023 compared to what we could see this year. Because when he came in, he just kind of came in guns a-blazing and just wanting to just light everything on fire. Where I think you will see a little bit more of a conservative Joe Flacco, one that does play within the offense, but also doesn't try to take too many shots and too many tough throws downfield. I think he's going to try to minimize the turnovers and not be as gung-ho about it. Where in 2023, I mean, he just came in and said, hey, man, this is just an opportunity, and I just got to take it. Because, listen, as long as Joe Flacco is winning games, he's not going to get benched. Like, no matter what we want to see out of the rookies, as long as he's winning some games, Flacco won't just get immediately benched. And if he does, it's going to tick off a lot of veterans in that locker room. But if you win games, you're not getting benched. And there's a lot of talk about this team being, a 3-win team again this year. And I'm telling you, man, I just don't see it. Like I can see the Browns winning 6 to 8 games. Hell, I could even see them having another year like 2023 because I believe in the defense. And I believe that if the Browns can play similarly to how they did, and they just show up every week ready to go, ready to beat whoever, they can do whatever they want. Like they really can. It's not like they have a bad team. These guys just keep forgetting that some of these guys were really, really good for us for a really, really long time. And switching to this old style of offense again, it's going to do wonders. this O line again, as you said, they love pulling. They love getting on those stunts, being able to just absolutely light guys up. That's their favorite thing to do. Like that's the things you need to get guys like Wyatt Teller to do. Joel Petonio, even at his age, is still one of the best pulling guards in the NFL. Like everybody is good at that. Pochich was good at that. And if you know what, if he's still going to be hurt, Whippler's going to be able to do it just as well. And we have better backups. I truly believe we have better backups than we did in 2023 and even last year when it comes to the O line. So I think we're just better equipped. And it's just a weird scenario to be in because it's like, on one hand, you kind of don't want them to be great because you still want a top pick. You still want to be able to be within that top 10 or top 15 even pick, because if Jacksonville sucks, you're going to get another top 10 pick as well.
Yeah.
And, that's going to be something, especially if this draft is going to be as stacked as it's projected to be. So there's definitely a lot on the line this season, but I think if you start the season well and you just play within the the offense, I think this team can win week 1. I mean, it's the Bengals. We have so much weird luck with them. We have a lot of times where we beat them. Even though last year I think they were the only AFC North team that we didn't beat at least once. Like we
Yeah.
we beat the Steelers, we beat the Ravens. So it was that weird luck that we had about AFC North. We just seem to know how to at least win at home. So, in honest to God, if we would have started freaking Winston against them instead of DTR, I fully believe that we would have won that game. But that was also, I think, the game that Deshaun got hurt in. So that was the other part. But yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting season. But you start with the run, and then you get guys like Njoku and Fannin involved. I can see this team scoring at least over 20 points. I mean, my goodness, we couldn't do that last year. I think we can week 1. I mean, it's a great team to start out doing it. You might as well start out high and just kind of,
Yeah.
take off a couple people. Why not? Like, it'll be so much fun to start the year off 1-0. Be like, okay, at least we beat the Bengals. Like, we could at least shut up those fans. So
Yeah.
it'll be nice. The only thing that I'm still concerned about is the Juckins, or deal. Just not having him sucks. Like he in this offense, Juckins would be running back 1,
Yeah.
not even close to, and that's what's pissing me off about this entire situation.
Yeah, and obviously we've heard reports from Mary Kay Cabot saying that there's probably a chance he could be on the team before week 1, so that way he could play week 1. Obviously,
Well,
I
it's
have to.
Wednesday tomorrow, so
That's what I mean. I have to believe it to see it. I have to see it to believe it, honestly. So, but if he does get signed tomorrow, let's just say,
Mhm.
hey, let him be RB1 week 1. Let him see what he can do, or keep Jerome Ford as RB1, but sprinkle him in every so often just to see what he's got. And if he's got something, hey, you just roll with him for the rest of the year. But the the thing is he's got to get signed first and be rostered. So, but like you said, I think we could easily. I think we could take this game. I mean, I think it's what 6-3 against Joe Burrow or something like that.
Yeah.
We have an insane record against Burrow. Burrow only beat us like 2 times or 3 times in his NFL career, and we smoked him the rest of the time. So for some reason, we've always had a lot of luck against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Obviously, he got 2 on us last year, but obviously we've already been beaten up and decimated with injuries, and that was only like week 4 and then the last week of the season where we threw in all of our backups because he actually technically Joe Burrow didn't play in that game because
Yeah.
both teams had their backups in. So in reality, Joe Burrow is only like 6-2 or something against the Browns in his NFL career,
Yep.
which is bizarre because we've been far worse than the Bengals, and somehow, some way, we just treat Joe Burrow like our little baby toy or whatever and smoke him. So I'm excited. I think we could beat, especially it's a home game too. I think we could beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I mean, it's going to be rocking that um Huntington Bank. So,
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Obviously, I'll try and be somewhere watching the game or in my apartment, or I might go to one of the bars across the street trying to catch the game just to get into the atmosphere and get to the environment, and just, enjoy the fun day of Sunday and, NFL being back. And I'm so ready for it to be back
Right.
because it's been far too long. And we've been doing so much Browns talk over the last couple months, and now that's finally here. I'm so
Yep.
super excited, and a week 1 win against the Bengals would be so nice.
Oh yeah, it would. I mean, it would. It'd be a nice way to start. Start the year. You kind of go back to back in the AFC North, going, big Bengals, and then I think we play the Ravens week
We're at
2,
Ravens.
right?
That's the game
Yeah.
I'm going to.
So
So
yeah, I mean that is a tough way to start, and then you go Packers and and Lions. So
it's a tough
again,
stretch.
for the first month's gonna be tough, and so I mean, people that are shocked about Flacco starting, that's the reason why. Like, you can't throw any rookie out there against some of the top teams in the league still. I mean, the Packers, especially
Yeah.
now with Micah, which is a whole nother thing we didn't even discuss. Micah Parsons is now a Packer after Jerry Jones gave him away for a few peanuts and 2 first-round picks. Unbelievable that he did that, and now the Packers are probably a Super Bowl favorite. As if they
Yeah.
all, as if they already weren't sort of a at least contender. He can elevate that defense beyond words if he can just stay healthy. So that freaking that freaking matchup is gonna suck. And yeah,
Jerry Jones has
he's
got
just
to
gonna suck.
go. Like, he's got to retire.
He is the Joe Biden of NFL owners, like, but just how old he is and how decrepit and just very out of touch mentally he is. Like, his mental decline is
Something that needs to be studied.
it's so bad. It's like a Joe Biden. It's like if Joe Biden and Ozzy Osbourne had an old baby, and just like that's what it was. Like,
Yeah.
that's what they remind me of. So yeah, unbelievable that he did that, but also not shocking at all. So
Yeah.
that made things a lot of fun. So
Well, are you ready for this year's start of the Pick'ems?
I think so.
We're bringing
So
it back.
yep. So we did this last year. We're not. I don't think we're gonna do a bet this week.
No.
But we may bring that back. We may even see if our sponsor wants to get involved in that. So me and Drew are going to hit him up on that and see how if we can get him involved in that in any way, because that would be a really cool way to also shout out the sponsors. So
Yeah.
look out for that. Hopefully by next week.
Yeah. So I have it already. So I'm going to share my screen.
Without further ado.
Hopefully we can see that. If not, I can try and blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, I would blow it up just a wee bit.
All right. Let me see if I can blow it up just a wee bit here. We're going to.
It's the one thing that stinks about this
Yeah. It
this
won't let me.
recording.
Yeah. It
That's
will.
fine. That's fine. We'll
I'm
deal with it.
sure we'll deal with it. Yeah. So, all right. So, we obviously game number 1 would be Thursday Night Football already between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Zach, what's your pick?
Eagles by like 21 points. Yeah, I mean, you just traded away Micah. That's I mean, the Cowboys might sort of make it a game because of their offense, but I don't know, man. The running game is so putrid. Like, if the Eagles start off hot, it's going to be tough for them to be throwing 50 times a game all season long.
Yeah, no, I went with the Eagles too by like a million because again, you just got rid of one of the best defensive players in the league for a bag of peanuts. And I mean, the Eagles have just come off a fresh Super Bowl win, and they have not changed one bit. They have the entire team all over again, and I just feel like they're just ready to run through again and just get back to the Super Bowl. So Eagles is the easiest pick here. All right, we got the other ratings. We got the other Super Bowl team in this. We have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers.
This is actually a fun one. Um, so I know that um I know that Pat Mahomes usually has wins, like more wins than the losses
Mhm.
against Herbert, but they always make this a fun game. I'm gonna pick Kansas City, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers do shock them. Because I'm a big fan of Herbert. He had a tough go last season in the playoffs, having that 5 interception game. He really dropped the ball, but they have continued to add a lot of talent. Amari Hampton is going to be a dog. Trey Harris is going to be a nice pair with Ladd. They just brought back Keenan Allen. Um, they really do have some talent. This team is still very quality, but I'm gonna pick Kansas City just to be safe.
Yeah, I went with Kansas City just to be on the safe side, but like you said, this is usually a pretty good game. It's usually a pretty close game too. So if you were to make a bet, honestly, you could probably just pick the Chargers to cover the spread.
Yeah,
Because in this type of game, they usually do cover the spread and they usually keep it insanely close and keep Pat Mahomes on his heels. So this would be definitely a fun one. It could also be kind of a shootout too, a little bit.
yeah, I think it might.
Yeah, because both defenses are kind of mediocre. Well, Kansas City's got a pretty good defense,
Yeah,
but I mean, they don't play like a good defense almost. They
no,
do let a lot happen. So,
absolutely.
but we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons.
I am very excited about Tampa Bay this year. I think Baker is going to have a ridiculous year. Them
Mhm.
adding a Buka, they might have Godwin this week. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. I know he's still questionable slash doubtful, but I know he's been at least cleared medically, so there is a chance. But even so, Mike Evans and Egbuka should be able to tear it up pretty well, and Bucky Irving is going to be a dog this year in fantasy. I'm going Tampa Bay, but this is going to be another good game because I also really like Drake London this year. They're saying they're going to use Kyle Pitts. We'll see if that happens. Um, I didn't make that mistake this year of drafting Kyle Pitts. And then obviously Bijan is a dog, and their defense is pretty solid. It's gotten better. It's all just going to depend on how Penix plays, but I'm gonna go Tampa Bay here.
Yeah, I went with Tampa Bay just because overall, I think Tampa Bay is just a better team. I don't. They just got like a very evened out squad. If I were to pick a team that was very even keeled and evened out, it's definitely Tampa Bay. They have a very good offense and a very good defense.
Right.
Like they're very like evened out on both sides of the ball. Whereas Atlanta could have a good offense. Obviously, now that Kirk Cousins is back, and they have Bijan Robinson. They have you know even a good backup in Tyler Algier, who's a really good backup running back who had 1,000 rushing yards in his rookie year before they even drafted Bijan.
Yeah.
So they have two guys who could go for 1,000 rushing yards, and again they have Drake London they have good receiving options. Um, I mean they're decent offense, but their defense is just abysmal. I mean, who do they really have besides? I think his name is what Jesse Bates is the only player that they got in that backfield in that secondary really that makes plays.
Yeah, I don't know the extent of their defense, but I know it's pretty decent. So,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
either decent or it's young and it's okay. It's nothing like exciting or crazy, but it's decent.
yeah,
But I think just Tampa Bay overall is just a very good football team, and I just think they're going to shock a lot of people this year in my eyes.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then I don't know if you want to do our game next or if you want to skip that for last. I mean, obviously we already talked a lot about it, so if you want to, we could just probably just do
Yeah,
it.
let's just do it. Yeah, let's just
All
do
right.
it. I mean, yeah, it's week one, so I'm allowed to be a homer. Um, I'm I actually really think the Browns can win this game. Again, it's hard to look at the Bengals defense and not think, hey, I think I really think the Browns can score. enough points to win this game, and our defense can really hold them down enough to, make this a game. Denzel Ward owns Jamar Chase, man. That is the one guy.
Yeah.
Jamar is a cocky player. He always says the best player that he plays against is Denzel Ward. He has his respect. Denzel Ward is going to do just fine. Greg Newsome has to sort of lock it down. And listen, this D line and Schlesinger and all of them, they are going to make some noise, man. I think this is going to be a really, really fun game for us to watch.
Yeah, I went the homer route too. I went with us. I went with Cleveland just for the fact that, like you said, this defense could be something to watch this year again, like it was in 2023. It could be a top 10 defense once again, and people seem to forget that this defense is really good. And we got really good signings in. We got that Shoinka from Tampa Bay. We got Mason Graham from the draft. Devin Bush has looked really good in preseason. And there's just like Schlesinger is probably going to be a guy who could be up for rookie of the year on the defense, like defensive rookie of the year. I mean, this guy's insane. And this defense could and like you said, Denzel has, over the last few years, Denzel has locked up Jamar Chase and has made sure that Jamar Chase has done nothing against him. And for some reason, the Browns have just always had Joe Burrow and the Bengals number over the last few years. Obviously, last year was the exception for the first game that we played against them. And then the last game of the season, both teams played their benches. But other than that, the Browns have always gotten the better of Joe Burrow for some reason, especially when the Browns have played either in the first game or the first 2 or 3 games of the season, that the Browns have gotten the better of the Bengals.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything being different. Joe Flacco's back. The Browns offense is back that scored a ton of points in 2023 and that led them to the playoffs. So they're running that same offense again. And I think it just torches that awful Bengals defense. I think the Bengals probably would have one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah.
So give me the Cleveland Browns. I think the Bengals are going to be, here's my hot take. The Bengals are going to be the most overhyped team. And they're going to have, my hot take is they're going to have a losing record. Whether that be 8-9, 7-10, whatever. I think they would have a losing record. I think they missed the playoffs.
That is definitely a hot take. I love it.
All right, moving on. We have the Dolphins versus the Indiana Colts in Indianapolis.
This is
it's a weird one.
I think Miami should win this game. The Colts just don't really scare me, but if the Colts get the run game going and, Danny Dimes shows up and really balls out, then sure, they can win. But I don't know, man. The Colts are just, I don't know their identity yet. And because of that, I think I'm just going to go Miami.
Okay. So this is where I'm going to go different.
Love it.
I went with Indianapolis just for the fact that, number one, obviously a home field advantage is always usually key in a lot of games. But also, too, like you said about Indianapolis's identity, and I agree with that. But I also don't have a lot of hope for Miami because they have so many injuries and so many guys are just, they're just out of it and they just don't play well or they're injured or whatever. So Miami has a lot of injury history, especially to guys like Jalen Waddle gets injured every so often. Tyreek Hill, I mean, obviously had an injury last year, and the whole Carr situation where he got suspended or where he got basically arrested, quote unquote, arrested outside the stadium. Yeah. But obviously, he was able to play in that game. But their defense too. I don't even know what to think about their defense because it's just kind of like up in the air. Like I think Miami's like the most mystery team because nobody knows what's going on down in Miami right now. No. Like it's very up in the air. And for me, at least with the Colts, I think they have Danny Dimes, who's the laughing stock of the league, but at least he's a solid veteran QB. He has Michael Pittman Jr. to throw to. He has a top tier running back in Jonathan Taylor. At least the Colts have an I would say the even defense. Like they're not like anything spectacular, but they're not bad.
Yeah, they're solid. Like they're solid.
It's a solid defense. the offensive line is always one of the best in the league. So as long as they keep Danny Dimes upright and Danny Dimes doesn't make mistakes and they get Jonathan Taylor going, I just think the Colts have it because in reality, I can't read Miami right now because I don't know what is going on with that offense. I also don't even know what's going on with that defense. They're just a mystery at this point.
Okay, that's fair. Very, very fair.
So up next, we have the Kitty Cat Bowl. We have the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
My hot take is the Jaguars are going to be probably a top 3 worst team this year. I'm going Carolina. I think I actually really think Carolina is actually they're going to do some damage in their division. It's a weak one, and I think they can squeak in a wild card this year. If Bryce Young can continue to play the way he would ended the year last year, adding McMillan. They added a lot to their defense and free agency as well. Like they did some moves. I really like Carolina in this game and also just kind of in general this year. They're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I also went with the Carolina Panthers just for the same reasons you. I think Jacksonville probably could be the worst team in the NFL this year, and they could be a bottom 3 team, like you said. It's like what they really add besides Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
that's really all they added.
Brian Thomas, but
who's
throwing to him?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been good the last couple of years, and we don't know what Travis Hunter is going to be at on both sides because we all know we just heard earlier today that he's going to be on both sides of the ball. So we don't know how that's going to pan out. That could lead to injuries to him. It could spell disaster, and that offense is horrible outside of basically Brian Thomas. Like, who else is on that offense? Tank Bigsby. Oh boy.
Yeah, Travis
Etienne.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody on, and there's nobody on that defense in reality either.
No.
But like Bryce Young gained Tet McMillan. He gained Hunter Renfrow. And Hunter Renfrow is probably one of the best route runners in the league, and people seem to forget about that. And they just have, like you said, they built up that defense a little bit. Carolina might be a shocking team to a lot of people this year. If Bryce Young can play like he did towards the end of last season and during the preseason too. He had a great preseason game too.
Yeah.
So if he could play like that, Carolina could definitely be a team to watch in the NFC for sure. So give me the Panthers in this.
Heck yeah.
All right. We have the Raiders and the Pats.
I am a very big fan of Drake May this year. I think them adding Stephon Diggs to this team is going to do some really fun things. I think Trayvon Henderson, I know they have him as running back 3. That's not going to last long.
No.
Stevenson has a lot of issues fumbling. Antonio Gibson has never really panned out to be anything spectacular. Trey is going to get a bulk load by week 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Drake May, I think he's going to be a fantasy, low key QB, sort of how Bo Nix was last year.
Yeah.
He's going to start to pop off, I think. So I'm going to pick the Pats. I do think the Raiders keep it somewhat close, but I just don't love their overall defense. But I'm also a guy that's drafted Genty twice. So I also would like Genty to get 30 rushes for 200 yards. So, give me something freaky, but I'm going to go Pats.
I went with the Pats as well. Like you said, I think Drake May could be what Bo Nix was last year. I think he could turn out to be a really good quarterback. Like you said, he gained Stephon Diggs. He has Demario Douglas out there too, who's a decent receiver, who's a good receiver too. So, and they just have a good offense. I think the offensive line is solid. They have 2 decent receivers. And like you said, they got Trevion Henderson, who is ready to burst onto the scene almost immediately. But like I said, they got him behind Ramondre Stevenson, which probably won't last long if he fumbles a lot or, gets injured again. And then Antonio Gibson, like you said, hasn't panned out in the NFL. So in reality, he's running back too. And he's if all goes his way, he could be, like you said, the starting running back by like week 3, week 4.
Yeah.
And there's just, again, like you said, there's so many unanswered questions about the Raiders defense outside of Max Crosby. Like, other than that, like, nobody knows who's on that defense besides Crosby. And obviously Geno Smith is the quarterback, but again, outside of Jacoby Myers and Brock, and outside of Brock Bowers, who really can, and Genty, who can really catch the ball down there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Amari Cooper, but he didn't pan out with the Bills.
Yeah.
So, again, there's questions on the offense, and we don't know what Pete Carroll's going to run down there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, hey, listen, Thornton is going to be a fun guy to have, though.
I drafted him a couple times. So I think Thornton's going to be fun. He's been outpacing Beck too.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
Give me the Pats. We got the Cards and the Saints up next.
Probably the easiest pick here, Cardinals. Yeah. I know I said the Jaguars are going to be one of the worst teams. The Saints will probably be the worst team. You can't expect to roll out a guy like Spencer Rattler and compete this year. That poor coach is going to be a one and done.
Kellen Moore.
I can guarantee Kellen Moore is going to be a one and done.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not going to be his fault either because
it's not.
It's just a team that he has because Kellen Moore's a good coach.
Yeah,
it's just a team. You're either rolling out Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shock, and either of those guys doesn't scare me whatsoever. And again, the only offense they have is Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave. That's their offense, and their defense is probably just as bad as the Bengals, if not worse.
Yeah, it's pretty bad now.
Yeah, so their defense is completely shot too. So, like you said, the Saints are probably the worst team. Will probably be the worst team in the NFL this year. Give me the Arizona Cardinals. All right, we have the Steelers and the Jets. Justin Fields going against his former team.
The Steelers are going to win this game. I actually don't think the Jets are going to be very good either this year.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where they will place because Justin Fields has always been able to win games. Like he's always been a winner. He's just never been able to be that guy that single-handedly leads a team to a victory. He's done it a few times, but like I stayed very far away from Garrett Wilson this year because I don't know if I like Fields. Fields is probably going to do a lot with his legs. And I just don't know what this team's going to look like. At least with the Steelers, I mean, listen, their offense isn't that much better than theirs either. This is going to be I think this will be like one of the slower games this year. For this week. Like this is going to be a snooze fest. I really think like a 17-13 game. But the Steelers should win this game just because of their defense more than anything. But yeah, I don't expect A-Rod to do anything crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I went with the Steelers just solely based on defense and the uncertainty of the Jets offense. Like you said, we don't know what Justin Fields will be. I mean, yeah, I have Garrett Wilson in a fantasy league, but that's because I think he's going to get every single target in existence in that offense because he's the only guy he's the only guy on that team that can catch the ball. That's why I think he's fantasy relevant because he's going to get all the targets. So, but the biggest question is their entire running back room. Like they don't know if Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, who the hell is going to get that ball in the backfield. Nobody knows. Yeah. I don't think they know. So there's just too many unanswered questions in New York. At least Pittsburgh, they have a good defense every single year that helps them out. Usually get to 500 every year for some reason because that's how they just roll is 500. But like you said, Aaron Rodgers going back to the team where he tore his Achilles after he carried out the flag in week 1 last year. And, honestly, does it happen again? Absolutely. I think he goes out there and tears his Achilles again. No, I'm just kidding. Knock on wood. Please don't let that happen again. That would be awful. And I would retire right after. Like if that happened, like get me the hell out of here. Yeah, but no, I just don't think he has weapons besides what DK Metcalf. Oh boy. Jalen Warren as your starting running back. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they have Joe Johnson as their running back 3, even
nuts.
Even behind Gainwell, like he hasn't done anything. He didn't do anything in Philly.
No.
Putting him at running back 3 is more criminal than Trey freaking Henderson being running back 3. That's going to change at some point. Caleb Johnson should be a guy that sees a lot of red zone targets.
Hell, I thought he should have been damn near starter day one.
Yeah, I mean it should have been him and Jalen Warren, and that's it. So
yeah, give me the Steelers.
Yeah.
All right, New York versus Washington, another NFC East matchup.
So I know Malik Neighbors is kind of questionable. He will probably play, but I don't know. The one thing that the Giants have better, this year is their defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping Jane Daniels doesn't have a sophomore slump. I'm picking Washington because they theoretically should be the team that beats them. But this might also be another close game.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I think this could be a very close game. And like you said, I pray that Jane Daniels doesn't have a sophomore slump. I don't think he will because I think what he just shown last year was so good. And if anything, if he can't throw the ball, his legs would do all the work too. So
yeah, sure.
So I don't have any issues with him just running the ball a lot. But I don't know what Russ has anymore. And I think they can go to Jackson Dart pretty early this season. So if I'm Giants fans, I'm looking out for Jackson Dart to be in the field relatively soon because I don't think Russ has it anymore. I don't know what they see in Russ Wilson, but Washington's at home. That defense is insanely good. That offense that offense is really good too, especially with Jane Daniels in it. Just give me Washington all day long.
Yeah, and I will say if Russ starts off bad, those Giants fans are going to rip him up more than Denver and Pittsburgh fans combined.
Oh, absolutely. New York's a tough place.
You do not want to be, because I know they play in Jersey. You do not want to be in Jersey on the border of New York dealing with those fans if you are messing up.
No, not at all. So, I will happily take the Washington Commanders. All right, Tennessee and Denver, the first of the 4:00 games.
Okay, I'm picking Denver. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Bo Nix. I'm a huge fan of Cortland Sutton this year. I think they're both going to be a really nice duo. They kind of upgraded the running back room a little bit with J.K. I know they also I think they drafted that Harvey kid as well, who is eventually going to play well.
Yeah.
Tennessee is going to be better. I think this game is going to be a little more fun. But I think Cam Ward, you're going to see a little bit of struggling, because, listen, you're going to pass against guys like Pat Surtain, who is arguably one of, if not the best players in the league currently right now. It's going to be a tough task for him week one. They still don't really have a good running back room as well. Like, I'm not a fan of Tajay Spears or what the hell is his name? Pollard.
Yeah.
I like Ridley, but Ridley has to go up against Surtain. I got Broncos.
Yeah, I got the Broncos too. Again, I think they're a pretty complete team. Good defense, good offense. And again, it's Cam Ward's first game as an NFL quarterback in the regular season. I don't think it's going to go all that well, especially against this kind of Broncos defense, which would probably be, again, a top-tier defense.
Right.
It may not go well because, like you said, Tajay Spears is one of the only guys they have, and Calvin Ridley is the other guy that they have. They don't really have much on the offensive side of that ball.
Right.
So, give me Denver. We got San Fran versus the Seahawks.
This is weird. I'm gonna go Seahawks because I think they're at home. I think it's right.
Yeah.
The right side's home. I mean, dude, San Fran's going to be in a tough spot. The only way that they are going to win games is if CMC can just completely carry and George Kittle can have crazy games. It's not impossible. And the Seahawks are a weird team. Man, actually, you know what? I'm going San Fran.
Okay.
Just because I'm not a big fan of Sam Darnold. That's my take. I think Sam Darnold's going to come back down to earth a little bit and be a little more human than he was with the Vikings last season.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I picked San Fran too, is because of the question marks around Sam Darnold. Because again, he doesn't have Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison anymore,
Yeah.
so that's going to take a lot away from him. He's got an aging Cooper Kupp on that offense now, and I'm trying to think of the other wide out they have. Oh, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's going to be really good, but he's only going to be as good as Sam Darnold. And again, there's just too many question marks if he's going to come down to earth or not. And Brock Purdy can still do enough with Ricky Pearsall and Kittle as the two guys catching the ball. Obviously, Juwan Jennings, I think, is questionable, but I think he will play.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And, I mean, as long as CMC plays the whole game, San Francisco should have no problem. All right, we got probably one of my favorite games of the weekend on Sunday, the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers.
This is probably game of the week.
Yeah.
Unless Detroit comes in and flops, like absolutely flops, this should be like game of the week. Well, actually, no. Baltimore and Bills should be game of the week, but this is a close one. I think I'm going to take Green Bay because they're at home. I don't know what type of loss Ben Johnson is going to be for the Lions. I don't know what the offense is going to look like, if it's going to respond well. Because I mean, listen, we've seen it when you change coordinators, it can really affect your game planning, and it can really affect the way that the game flows. Green Bay didn't lose that, and they've also gained, Micah. Even if Micah is at 70%, I think Green Bay is going to squeak one out. It's going to be close, but I can see Green Bay winning this game.
Yeah, I went with Green Bay too for the same reasons. They're at home. They just gained Micah Parsons. That's a huge plus to that defense. And again, like you said, Detroit just got a new offensive coordinator, so we don't know how it's going to play out. Plus, they still have quite a bit of defensive injuries. Obviously, Hutch, I think, is still out.
No, I don't think so. I think Hutch is ready to go.
Is Hutch ready to go?
I think so.
I can't remember because I know it was something that they had like a couple of guys still out from injury or something, or like maybe one or two guys out. But again, even if it's not defensive injuries, we don't know how the offense is going to be ran in Detroit because, like you said, they lost the offensive coordinator, got a new one. We don't know how it's going to turn out. So it's just that uncertainty that I don't trust. But hey, if they win, they win. But I'm going to take the safe option and go Green Bay. Houston and the Rams.
This is also going to be a very weird game.
Yeah.
Houston has a good defense. The Rams have a pretty solid defense. Both of the offenses have some question marks. Stroud has a really bad O-line.
Yeah.
We saw that last year. I don't know how much better that's going to be, but you also have Matt Stafford, who has been battling a back injury.
Yep.
And you don't know what version of him you're going to get. So I'm still going to pick the Rams because even if Matt Stafford isn't at full capacity, he is a tough dude, and they still have Kyren Williams, who I've always loved. So being able to run the ball and be at home, I think that's their advantages. But I think Houston is going to keep this game close. I think it's going to be like an uglier, close game. But I'm going Rams.
I went with the Rams too. Just like you said, the defense is the biggest issue with Houston right now because their defense is just full of holes and question marks. And their offensive line, like you said, was abysmal last year. And it was surprising that CJ Stroud stayed up for as long as he did.
Right.
And again, too, they have injuries to the offense too. Tank Dell's down.
Yeah.
They have a couple of guys down. I mean, their starting running back is Nick Chubb, which
that's right.
We've heard reports too that Nick Chubb has lost a massive step because of the ACL. Because obviously he's had this third ACL surgery. So because he had two in college and now he has one this last year. So, or the year before, I'm sorry. But they said he's lost a massive step watching him run, and in camp, and so that's a very scary sight if you're Texans fans. That Nick Chubb is a lot. And who's your guy after that? Damian Pierce.
Yeah, it's an
And
interesting backfield there.
and I think they still have Rex Burkhead back there too. So it's not looking good on the offense because that line is awful. You don't have I'm sorry to Nick Chubb. I love him to death. He's Cleveland forever. But if it's true that he's lost a massive step, I don't see that offense doing much besides just throwing the ball deep to Christian Kirk or Nico Collins. That's the only thing I can really see that happening for that offense.
Yeah.
Other than that's the only way they're going to put up points. If not, then that offense is screwed, and that defense is even more screwed because they can't hold anything right now.
Yeah.
So I would rather take a beaten up Matt Stafford because I remember when he broke his back against the Browns in his second year of the league in 2010, and he still killed us.
Yeah.
So give me a broken back Matt Stafford every day of the week because at least I know he can play well with one.
Right.
All right. This should be the game of the week. Ravens and Bills.
I'm going Bills because they're at home. And the Ravens always start the year really, really weird. But this is going to be it. This could very well be a shootout type of game. It's prime time. Both teams have pretty good offenses. I will say the Ravens have a slightly better offense. I think the Bills have a slightly better defense. Well, actually, no. The Ravens do have a pretty good defense. This is going to be a fun game. I don't know how this is going to look, but I love Josh Allen. And I think they're going to get it done just because they're at home. That's their only advantage here is that they're at home.
I mean, I went the same route. I went with the home team. I went with Buffalo just because they're at home, and that's really the only thing I had was that they're at home. Yeah. And this, like you said, this could be a shootout. This could be a 37 to 31 type of game. This could just be long balls flying like crazy. So I went with Buffalo. And then the last one, the last AFC North or NFC North matchup, between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears on Monday night.
I am going to go Bears. They're at home. Dude, I am not a JJ McCarthy guy at all. I never have, and I never will. And it's not just because he's from that team up north. I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's going to struggle. They're going to have to rely on the run game a little bit. I know Jay Jetta has been battling a little bit of an injury right now. They are without Jordan Addison. They just traded for Adam Thielen, so I guess that's cool for nostalgia purposes. But it's not really going to matter, dude. I'm telling you, I'm not a McCarthy guy, and because of that, I'm going to go Bears. I think Ben Johnson is going to get Caleb Williams figured out. I think Swift is going to play a huge role in this offense, and I'm telling you what, Luther Burden, look out for that name. I'm telling you, this kid's going to go off at some point this season. I don't know when, but I think he's going to do much better than even DJ Moore at some point.
Yeah, I went the opposite for this one. I went with Minnesota, and it's for the fact that I think that the Vikings defense is slightly better than Chicago's. I know Ben Johnson could probably figure out Caleb Williams, but I just don't have faith in Caleb Williams himself.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people who figured out Caleb Williams in college, and he still stunk it up in college.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but I just don't have a lot of trust in Caleb Williams. It's going to be a lot of DeAndre Swift, the new kid, Colston Loveland, who they got a tight end now, who's supposed to be really good. I think he was Penn State tight end?
No, that was Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was Michigan. But again, I could be completely off, but for some reason, I just think Minnesota's just better built. And I know it just proves year in and year out that sometimes QB doesn't matter because Justin Jefferson still balls out. When he had Kellen Mond and Joshua Dobbs, he still balled.
That's true.
And the Vikings still won games. So it was it just reminded me of the Browns 2 years ago where we have 4 different starters and we still won games just by the skin of our teeth or just out of nowhere. and I just think that that's the Minnesota Vikings. I, I think no matter who's there, I mean, they get T.J. Hawkinson back. They have Aaron Jones, so I think they could pull it off in Chicago.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, man, that's week 1 predictions. I know the video was a lot longer than they have been recently, but we actually have stuff to talk about, and we're back to the weekly predictions, which is honestly one of my favorite things to do.
Me too.
So yeah, man, I'm glad we were able to bring it back, and we're gonna keep it going, and then we'll see how we both fare by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a few different picks. So somebody's gonna have a slightly different record in week 1, which I love.
Me too. And before we get out of here, guys, be sure you guys check out our sponsor, Effortless Wins, for sports betting advice and plays to boost your wins. Talk to Tony or Greg. Links will be in the comment of YouTube or in the description of Spotify. And like Zach said earlier in the podcast, we'll probably have Greg on the podcast to kind of give out his bet of the week or his pick of the week, and we'll get him involved, and who knows, maybe we'll tail some of that pick too, and see how we all end up doing together, and it should be fun. So we'll get Greg on here. We'll have him throw down a pick of the week for one of the games and throw down. We'll see how we do. We can keep track of it.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see y'all next week with hopefully a Browns dub under the belt in week 1. We'll see you next time.